Listen, I know I've let you down, but you've got to believe me that it doesn't have anything to do with how much I care about you. You mean the world to me. I mean, you're everything to me. I've always been a man of my word in the past. That's really important to me. I want it to mean something to you again. I want you to be able to believe me, to trust me. I've screwed up. You know, I said that I was going to keep you in the loop about these health issues that have been developing, and I haven't. So I want to come clean, and I just hope that I can undo whatever damage that I've done and make things right between us again. Hello friends, welcome to Mr. Snayl's Wild Ride. I am Mr. Snayl, and the wild ride is my life so far. This year, after my annual physical at the end of March, my lab results came back that suggested that there were some problems I hadn't had before. As I said in another video, it can take quite a bit of time to get answers about a significant change in your health. Unfortunately, the supposed problems that have shown up are not the kind most people have heard about. It's not like having cancer or some kind of infection or high blood pressure. So this means it's not something cut and dry that you can just tell people about. It takes some time to explain. Which is kind of why I haven't gone into it at all. And for things that require some explaining, the detail-obsessed science nerd part of me tends to go overboard with the particulars. I'm going to try to not do that to you guys today, I swear.
Do not be afraid.
To begin with, there are two things you need to know that are very important. First, know that your kidneys are vital organs that do more than just filter waste out of your blood and dump it into your bladder. Second, since I'm going to be talking about the kidney, that means I'm going to say the word urine a lot for the next few minutes, so you might want to prepare yourself, whatever that might mean for you. A little over 4 years ago, I donated one of my kidneys to a guy I've known my entire life. It was an easy decision to make. He was in end-stage renal failure, I had 2 kidneys, our blood types matched, bing bang boom. The timing was good too, as he wasn't yet on dialysis. A lot of you probably know that dialysis is a treatment for when your kidney function is so poor that doctors have to hook you up to a machine to filter out the excess waste and water from your blood. It's much better to have an actual working kidney instead. The reason being that they perform a number of other vital functions besides just filtering out waste. They regulate your blood pressure, they maintain proper acidity in your blood, and a number of other things. The transplant surgery went well. He's doing great, I'm fine, everything's fine. Every year for the last 3 years, I've had my annual checkup in March, and the lab results have been consistent for what you'd expect for old one-kidney Jones here. But this year, the urine analysis showed elevated levels of creatinine and albumin, 2 different proteins that are normally found in the body. Creatinine is just a byproduct of normal muscle usage, but the albumins, not to be confused with albumin with an E, which is egg white, the albumins are a group of blood proteins that help to maintain proper water balance. While some amount of creatinine is normally present in the urine, albumin has no business being there. So that got their attention. Thus, they wanted to do a more thorough analysis, which involved a 24-hour urine collection. That was fun. So those test results showed that the previous ones were not a fluke. My kidney was leaking a little of these proteins into my urine. Normally, as blood flows through the kidney, most proteins are too big to pass through those filters in the kidney and wind up in the urine. Finding protein in my urine could mean a whole bunch of different things, ranging from not good to really, really bad. From fairly treatable to... Seems the most likely possibility is some kind of pre-diabetic condition, unfortunately. Many of my doctors are concerned, rightly so, about protecting that one remaining kidney. I'm on a whole pile of medications, and they're all processed to varying degrees, if at all, by the liver and my one remaining kidney. And he's doing all that work by himself instead of sharing the load. About 6 weeks ago, my local internist started me on lisinopril, which is often prescribed for high blood pressure. Now this makes sense, given that blood pressure is managed by the kidney. However, my blood pressure has always been textbook 120/70 or thereabouts, so what's the deal there? To put it very crudely, the drug inhibits a particular protein, and this protein mediates the tension of the blood vessels in addition to the volume of liquid in the blood. So to put it another way, it relaxes the blood vessels and lowers the blood volume just a little bit. This literally lowers the pressure of the fluid passing through your inner tubing, which therefore lowers the pressure of the fluid passing through the kidney. Think of it like a soaking wet sponge and the difference between holding it really tightly and holding it loosely. You've got matter dripping out of it either way, but if you hold it more tightly, a lot of the stuff gets squeezed out much more aggressively. I started on the lisinopril about 6 weeks ago at the lowest possible dose, and it wasn't long before I got pretty useless. Now, as I said, I'm already on a pile of crazy meds. So aside from the usual gamut of potential side effects that seem to be attributable to all drugs, the pile of crazy meds that I'm on all seem to share these potential side effects that include, but are not limited to, fatigue, drowsiness, lethargy, memory loss, fatigue, and one in particular includes general cognitive impairment and potential renal problems. Great. Now add in the lisinopril, which can add the potential side effects of unusual tiredness and confusion, and I'm taking 2 or 3 naps a day in addition to feeling the dumbest I've ever been in my entire life. Good times. In fact, during that first week, I got into a car accident between myself and a lamppost, and so I decided I probably shouldn't drive unsupervised, if at all, until further notice. I recently had my 1-month follow-up labs, and there hasn't been any significant change in the urine protein levels, which is to be expected, but my sleepy stupids have just become too much. Now you might think, watching this, oh, he seems fine, but you have to understand, you will never see me as a basket case in this forum. That wouldn't do anybody any good. It wouldn't be funny, and it wouldn't help anybody. So I talked about it with my wife and my local internist and decided to take an experimental break from the lisinopril just to see if it makes any kind of difference. I stopped taking it last week, and after just a couple of days, I already feel much better. My internist had said that there were a number of choices, so I think we're going to have to try something else. I realize that there's no perfect drug. In fact, if you keep switching meds in the hope of finding something without side effects or with tolerable side effects, you run the risk of becoming treatment resistant. And sometimes a med that worked before may not work as well as it did the first time, or it may not work at all. So I get that. Like I've said before, we're still only a couple of months in, and it may take a really long time before any of this gets sorted out. We may never know exactly what the problem is. In fact, Western medicine's whole approach is to try to take care of fixing the symptoms rather than trying to solve the problem and discover the cause. There's a relevant quote from Michael Crichton, if you'll indulge me, but I read this in Sphere and it really stuck with me. One character said, "Do you want to understand how to ride a bike, or do you want to get on the bike and start riding?" So, that's all the news that's fit to tube. Subscribe to find out what's wrong with me next. And please click like. It's just one little click, but it means so much. Thanks again. We'll see you next week. When you've got some health issues but with the thing and the thing. Since it was the quined. Dialysis is a treatment when your filters aren't. The doctor hooks you up to a machine to filter out the waste and excess water in your blood. It can take quite a bit. Filters a lot of the waste and the water out of your excess kidneys. Kidneys perform a number of other vital functions besides managing to taste good. Maintaining the right acidity in your blood and money. Great! The albumins are a group of blood proteins that help to mangulate. Many of my doctors are concerned, rightly so, about prepared. Now this makes home stretch. A particular character said, "Do you want to get on the shit?" Bird. My local internist started me on the sim. Do not be afraid. 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 Do not be afraid.